Welcome back to the Jenny McCarthy Show on SiriusXM Stars.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Jenny McCarthy Wahlberg, another great guest with another great book. I'm so excited because I need this in my own life. No Shame is the name of the book. Real talk with your kids about sex, self-confidence, and healthy relationships. God, she came at the perfect time. Dr. Lea Lis, welcome to my show.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Me too. Especially since I've got a house full of teenage boys. I'm like,
you're in the thick of it.
I'm in the thick of it. You know, let's talk about your book in a nutshell, and then we'll dive into specifics. Who is this book for, and what is it about, and why people need to get it?
Okay. So this book is called No Shame, and it's about real talk with your kids about sex, self-confidence, and healthy relationships. And it is for parents with basically any child, but certainly oriented towards the teen years, which is the most difficult time to deal with sexuality. But it really it talks about raising them from the ground up to talk about sex and communication skills without shame, and also to help them to have healthy relationships sexually when they get older by working on things like communication skills and role playing, where they learn how to communicate their boundaries and they learn how to be able to say no, but also to prioritize their own pleasure and their own, sense of who they are. So this book is not just about sexual education. It's really about communication.
Oh my God, this is so needed. By the way, love the name, and I love the cover of the book. It's like thumbs up, so well done. And so needed. This is so needed. And it's crazy because our kids today have so much more access to information, but there's less conversation. Yes, exactly. And there's less conversation, I think, about, although my mom and dad didn't really have that much to say about on the matter. I think they thought, you'll figure it out. But I know me and my friends, we don't want that. We want our kids to have, a healthy future in relationships. Cut to watching how they break up with people, watching how they're getting dumped. I mean, all these things are like, oh, wait a minute. I thought I did a good job, and we don't know this level of technology. We didn't grow up ghosting,
Yes.
Do you cover those type of current dilemmas with teenagers in the book, how to break up properly and not just ghost or so on and so forth?
Yes. I call it sexual etiquette, and that's something I definitely feel strongly about. Do you talk to the boys in your house about sexual etiquette? Because that's something a mom can do with their son so beautifully. It can make such a difference.
Yes and no. My son, my biological son, I don't feel comfortable as a stepmother with the other ones, but my husband takes care of that. But my son is a little bit shy about it, but I still move forward. I just probably don't have the right verbiage. But so I'm like, I wish I had a great book to hand him. And that's why I was like, oh my God, No Shame. Dr. Lea Lis is on the show. I'm handing him this book, but you can't this can't substitute parenting.
No. I mean, sexual etiquette is very important. Some things like no next day ghosting. I always say always write it, even if it's not long term, it's not love. You always write a lovely note the next day, and you can be very clear with that you're maybe not into a relationship from the start of things, which is nice to be clear about your boundaries. But sexual etiquette is very important, and for even parents. See, a lot of parents who have kids who are maybe more shy or more socially awkward. And so for those parents, I actually have a section on flirting training and rejection practice, because not every kid is good at that stuff. And sometimes they need to help the other way around, just like to be more social, to help find their first, romantic relationship. And, so I think there's a little bit of something for every kind of parent out there.
That's really good. And will it help the teen? Sorry, I'm being so specific. Will it help the teen, like for instance, one that might not want to break up with someone, but they broke up on their end, but won't let that other person go and start seeing other people on the side because they don't know how to let go. They don't want to be the bad guy or don't want to hurt the person's feeling. And as a parent, you can only do so much. You can't ground them, so... How do you like infiltrate that and try to fix it?
Well, I mean, you're right. You can't say too much because you can only give a certain amount of welcome advice and then it may not be welcome anymore. So I think the reality is you can just tell them to be true to their heart and tell them not to lead someone on, because that in the end can cause more issues if they don't really feel it in their heart. But at the end of the day, they're going to make their own decisions. And also, it's really important that you lead by example. So if you live a life where you're honest with your person and your partner, and you try to express yourself in a positive way, then they're going to learn from that as well. So, but you got to let them. You got to let them learn. They got to let them make mistakes, and they will get burned by that kind of behavior in the end, because when they do break up, the breakup will be more painful. So maybe that's just the lesson they have to learn.
I know. I'm like, dude, karma is a bitch. Just wait. What about the age that it's appropriate to sit down and have the sex talk with your kids?
That's a great question. And the answer is as soon as they can talk. So I believe that sex talk should be ongoing, literally ongoing from the day that they can talk. You start by labeling their body parts for the real words, not pee, woohoo, your princess, your jewel, whatever silly name you have for it, penis, labia, vagina, that's on the inside, how to wipe. And then you go to, it feels good to touch yourself. Please do it when you're alone, because all kids masturbate, especially the mother of boys knows that. And, and they do that from, age 2 up. And then you move to like the idea of, does it, simple lessons that are not necessarily sexual, but translate like, may I brush your hair? Do you like it when I brush your hair? Does it feel good? Do you like it when I touch you like that? The idea of like, you have control of your own body and you can give consent to others to come into your body space. And that is a very empowering message for all people, women, to understand that. And the idea of touch equates pleasure. And that happens from a really young age. But then I have control over the touch. If something doesn't feel nice, if somebody's grabbing me in a way I don't like, I can say, please don't do that. I don't need to be polite, because this is how we get into trouble, right?
Right.
How many women, I mean, including myself, have felt bad to say, please don't touch me like that. I don't like it. Or, this is going too far. We want them to get our nonverbal communication, but they're not getting it. And then we're placed in that really awful predicament as opposed to being empowered.
Oh, this is why your book is a necessity. Again, it's called No Shame, Real Talk with Your Kids about sex, self-confidence, and healthy relationships. Do you cover self-esteem, self-love? Because I know, especially when you go into college, you're having like mindless, casual sex. Do you discuss a boundary or a philosophy or any tools?
Yeah. Well, I discuss something that I call rational love, which means, a lot of parents say you have to be in love to have sex. It's kind of what they tell kids, oh, be in love, be in love. Kids don't really buy it because A, they don't see that on TV. B, a lot of the time the parents are dating and, obviously they realize they're having sex and they're not, monogamous. And, so they just don't buy it. So, I say, don't sell them a story that they're not going to believe. So I talk about rational love, which is like, you want to be respectful and loving in the moment. And if that moment is 6 months, a year, that moment is the night, you just want to be kind of and rational. And by rational, I mean like level-headed. So you want to really practice that idea of rational love. So that's a philosophy I give in the book that I think you can preach. Like, no one's saying it's going to last forever. No one's saying this is going to be your prince or princess, but you can love in the moment. You can be true in the moment. You can be kind in the moment, and you can love someone in the moment, even if it's not forever. So I think that's what I mean by rational love. And so that's one of the philosophies I give.
I love that. You're so knowledgeable. I think that I cannot wait to read this book and then also hand it to my son. I think honestly, it's so well done the way everything you discussed it and articulate it. I think all of us could, anyone that can relate to it and have teenagers or kids, you got to get it. No Shame is the name of it. Real Talk with Your Kids about sex, self-confidence, and healthy relationships. Dr. Lea Lis, thank you for bringing this to us.
Oh my God.
helping all of us moms
fun.
and dads navigate this shit, and teens.
Yes. I mean, boys are wonderful. And I think just hope that you raise them to be elegant, with great sexual etiquette, and, really, prioritize their pleasure, their partner's pleasure, and have like really happy and fulfilling sex lives. Isn't that what we all want?
Totally. And totally. Like, I'm like thinking about, I'm like, I can't wait to get home and sit. I am home, but upstairs and sit down, have a conversation with them. I'm like waiting now. I just can't wait, but I'm also going to wait for your book. No shame. Thank you so much, Dr. Lea Lis. Please come back sometime. I'd love to have you.